Let's talk about something that's often underestimated but absolutely powerful: texting. Yes, that small little screen in your hand. It can be the difference between a woman chasing your attention or ghosting you entirely. Most men don't realize this, but texting isn't just communication. It's connection, it's attraction, and if you do it right, it's irresistible. So here are 3 texting secrets that women simply can't resist. And no, this isn't about cheesy pick-up lines or emoji overload. Let's start with this simple truth. When it comes to texting, emotion is everything. If your texts don't make her feel something, curious, amused, intrigued, nostalgic, then chances are you're forgettable. Most men send texts based on logic. Let me ask a question. Let me get straight to the point. Let me just check in. But women don't respond emotionally to logic. They respond to how your message makes them feel in that moment. That's the emotional hook. And that's what you must learn to master. So what exactly does it mean to send emotionally intriguing messages? It means sending a message that creates a spark, not because you're trying hard, but because you understand how her emotional brain works. You're not giving away everything in one text. You're giving her just enough to make her mind start dancing with curiosity. You're inviting her to lean in, to wonder, to imagine. Here's the thing: most guys kill the mystery too quickly. They'll send long texts explaining every detail, revealing every intention. Or worse, they'll send one-word replies, thinking being dry makes them look cool or unavailable. But women don't chase dry energy. They chase emotional stimulation. Let's go deeper. Imagine 2 different texts from a man. Hey, how's your day going? Something made me think of you today. Now, read them again and ask yourself, which one pulls a reaction? The first one is safe, predictable. It gets the job done, but it doesn't move anything in her emotionally. She's probably received that message 5 times this week from other men. But the second, that opens a loop in her mind. It creates a mini mystery. It makes her wonder, what made him think of me? Was it something sweet? Is he trying to flirt, or is he being nostalgic? That's intrigue. That's the doorway to emotional connection. And you know what? You don't even have to answer it right away. That's the beauty of emotionally intriguing texts. They invite curiosity before they deliver answers. Another example: instead of saying, I watched a movie last night, say, that movie I watched last night hit me in a way I didn't expect. Now you've opened an emotional portal. You're not just giving her a fact, you're letting her feel your mood, your experience, your depth. And if you want to take it a step further, say something like, there's this one scene, it made me wonder how you would have reacted if you saw it. Boom! Now she's emotionally invested. You're subtly involving her in your thoughts. She feels important. She's not just an audience. She's part of the story. And when a woman feels included emotionally, she naturally wants to keep that connection going. Let's talk about another powerful emotional trigger: nostalgia. When you reference a shared moment, even something simple like a laugh from a previous conversation, it instantly brings back emotion. And emotion is what bonds people. For instance, that song came on today. The one you couldn't stop singing that night, couldn't help but smile. That kind of text creates warmth. It makes her relive a memory, and that memory is now tied to you. You're not just another guy texting her. You're the one who remembers her energy. You see her beyond the surface. And that's rare. Another form of emotional intrigue is playful teasing, especially when it's tailored to her personality. Example: are you always this dramatic, or is it just a Monday thing? This line is light, fun, and slightly challenging, but not disrespectful. It invites a reaction, makes her smile, and keeps the tone elevated. Teasing, when done well, adds emotional flavor. It keeps her on her toes. It signals that you're not afraid to joke with her, but you're doing it in a way that makes her feel seen, not mocked. You also have to understand the role of open loops in texting. Open loops are messages that suggest a story, but don't immediately reveal everything. Examples: you remind me of someone, but I'm still figuring out if that's a good thing. You'd laugh at what just happened to me. I'm sure of it. These messages pull her in without being desperate. They're emotionally charged, but not clingy. They show personality, but leave room for curiosity. That's the formula. And guess what? When you create these little emotional cliffhangers, she doesn't just read your text. She reads it. She thinks about it. She waits for the follow-up. And that's when she starts to emotionally invest. Now let's be clear: emotional intrigue doesn't mean emotional manipulation. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about learning to communicate in a way that speaks to a woman's emotional world. Because in her world, it's not what you say, it's how you make her feel when you say it. Think about the difference between these two texts. You're beautiful. There's something about the way you carry yourself. Effortless, like you don't even realize how stunning you are. The first is a compliment, the second is a connection. One is a reaction, the other is an experience. That's emotional depth, and that's what women crave when it comes to texting. So when you're about to send that next message, pause. Ask yourself, what will this make her feel? Will it make her laugh, wonder, smile, or remember? Because once you start tapping into those emotional layers, you stop being just another text on her phone, and you start becoming the only one she wants to text back. Let's get one thing straight. Confidence is not about being loud, aggressive, or overly clever. It's not about flooding her phone with messages just to stay relevant. Confidence in communication is quiet, it's powerful, and when done right, it speaks volumes without having to say too much. You see, the way a man communicates, especially through texting, tells a woman everything she needs to know about how he sees himself. And let me tell you this, a woman can feel your energy through your words. She can tell if you're unsure of yourself, if you're trying too hard, or if you're coming from a place of lack. She can also feel when you're grounded, when your words are intentional, steady, and without an ounce of desperation. That's confidence. It's in the pacing of your replies. It's in your choice to text with clarity instead of clutter. It's in your ability to walk away from a conversation when the energy shifts, instead of chasing validation or clinging for attention. Confidence isn't about playing cold or withholding affection. It's about knowing your worth and not needing constant reassurance to feel seen. Let's break this down further. Imagine a man is texting a woman he's attracted to. He sends 5 long paragraphs explaining himself, checking in multiple times when she doesn't reply, throwing in compliments hoping to earn her interest. His intentions might be pure, but his energy, it's screaming insecurity. On the other hand, a confident man doesn't flood the space. He says what he means and he gives her room to respond. He doesn't panic over silence because he understands that his presence doesn't need to beg for attention. He doesn't fear losing her because he knows if she's meant for him, she'll gravitate toward his energy. That's the energy women find irresistible. Here's something many men get wrong: fast replies aren't always attractive. If you're always texting back instantly, even when you're clearly available 24/7, it starts to feel like you're putting your life on hold for her. And guess what? That doesn't build attraction. It creates pressure. It kills the natural flow. Women don't want to feel like they've become your only source of excitement. They want to be drawn into your world, not become your entire world. So when you take your time to respond, not to manipulate, but because you're genuinely focused on your life, it shows her that you're emotionally stable. You're not anxiously attached. You're not measuring your worth by her replies. Let's also talk about language. A confident communicator doesn't use words that beg. He doesn't say, "Sorry to bother you. I hope I'm not being annoying, but I totally understand if you don't want to talk to me." Do you see the pattern? That's the language of someone apologizing for taking up space. That's the language of insecurity, and women notice that immediately. Instead, confidence sounds like, "I had a thought I wanted to share with you. Let me know when you're free. No rush. It's been good talking to you. I'll catch up with you later." These aren't aggressive. They're grounded. They speak from choice, not from need. Confidence in texting is also reflected in how you handle disinterest or distance. A man who values himself doesn't chase after breadcrumbs. If a woman starts pulling away, becomes inconsistent, or only replies when it's convenient for her, he notices. But instead of reacting emotionally, he steps back respectfully. He doesn't argue. He doesn't send guilt-tripping texts. He doesn't beg for her attention. He simply removes himself from the situation. Because he knows this, someone who values you won't make you question your place in their life. That's confidence in action. Women admire a man who can maintain his composure when things don't go his way. A man who doesn't fall apart emotionally just because someone stopped replying. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's unforgettable. Let's also look at confidence in conversation topics. A confident man doesn't default to predictable, surface-level questions. He's not afraid to challenge her thoughts, flirt with intelligence, or inject playful tension into the conversation. He doesn't stick to, "Hey, and "What are you doing?" texts. He says things like, "What's something you believe in that most people don't? Tell me something I wouldn't guess about you. I've got a theory about you, but I'll save it for later." These kinds of messages reflect confidence because they show curiosity, control, and creativity. They demonstrate that you have your own thoughts, your own standards, and that you're inviting her into your space, not chasing your way into hers. And here's something you should remember. Confidence is also in knowing when not to text. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence, not as punishment, but as preservation. You don't need to force a dead conversation. You don't need to beg someone to notice you. Confidence is the willingness to say, "This is the energy I bring, and if you can't meet it, I'm okay with that." It's choosing quality over quantity. It's being intentional, not reactive. It's not needing to explain your worth in every message because you carry it in how you show up, how you speak, and how you maintain your space. The most attractive men aren't always the loudest or the most persistent. They're the ones who speak with clarity, respond with self-respect, and know that communication is a reflection of how you see yourself. Let's dive into something most people overlook when it comes to texting: playfulness. And I'm not talking about mindless emojis or cheesy pickup lines. I'm talking about personalized playfulness, the kind that feels effortless but makes a deep impact, the kind that makes a woman feel like you see her, not just her face or her body, but the way her mind works, her quirks, her patterns, her rhythm. You see, most men think playfulness means being funny, cracking jokes, throwing memes, or sending "aha" too many times. But here's the truth: humor by itself won't create connection if it feels generic. What works, what's irresistible, is when you tailor your playfulness to her. That means noticing what makes her tick, picking up on her favorite words, remembering how she reacted when she mispronounced something in voice note. It's the way she talks about her pet cat like it's royalty, or how she can't drink coffee after 3 p.m. or she won't sleep. When you bring those things up in a light, playful tone, it hits different. Because now you're not just another guy sending, you're cute. You're the one who says, "Don't tell me you're drinking coffee again at midnight, trying to stay up, stalking my IG, or what." See that? It's teasing, but it's not random. It's rooted in something personal. Women love this. Why? Because it makes them feel seen, remembered, and emotionally safe. It tells her, "You matter. I pay attention, and I know how to have fun with you without crossing boundaries." Playfulness, when personalized, becomes a secret language between the two of you. It's the inside jokes, the shared giggles over a moment nobody else would understand. It's calling her Captain Crunch because of how she destroyed a bag of cereal during a late night call. It's playful, yes, but it's also emotionally bonding. Let's go deeper. Many men keep things stiff and formal when texting women they're interested in. They think being respectful means being overly serious. They avoid teasing because they fear coming off as rude. But here's what they miss: respect and playfulness are not opposites. In fact, when done right, playfulness is a sign of respect. It shows comfort. It shows that you're relaxed around her and that you see her as someone you can be yourself with. This creates something magical, emotional comfort wrapped in excitement. It's the sweet spot where trust meets chemistry. Let's look at an example. She texts, "Just got back from a workout." "I'm dead." The average guy replies, "Nice, keep it up." Or, "You must be tired. Go rest." But someone who understands playful personalization might say, "So what's the name of your personal trainer? I need to thank him for turning you into a beast." Or, "At this rate, I'll have to start doing push-ups just to keep up with you. Don't leave me behind." Notice how these responses are flirty, personalized, and emotionally light, but they also reflect admiration, attentiveness, and shared energy. That's the difference. That's the spark most men overlook. Another key part of personalized playfulness is mirroring her tone, but doing it creatively. If she sends voice notes full of energy, you don't respond like a robot. You match that vibe. You give her back the same emotional investment, maybe even with a little twist. For instance, if she laughs at her own clumsiness, "I just spilled water all over myself," graceful as ever, you could say, "You're just making it easier for me to imagine how dramatic that scene looked. I bet you cursed the water bottle like it betrayed you." A playfulness becomes meaningful when it reflects that you understand her personality, not just her words. Women are used to surface-level compliments. They're used to being admired physically, but what they crave more is emotional recognition. They want to feel like you're listening between the lines, that you're enjoying who they are, not just what they look like. Here's another example. She texts you something like, "I'm trying to cook today. Let's see how it turns out." The average guy says, "Nice. What are you making?" But you, if you're being playfully personalized, could say, "Should I be concerned? Is the fire department on standby?" Or, "I admire your bravery." Volunteering yourself as chef and test subject at the same time. That kind of response makes her laugh, it softens her energy, and guess what? It makes her look forward to talking to you, not because you're just being funny, but because you're interacting with her in a way no one else is. That's how you stand out. By making her feel unique, by not sending recycled compliments or overused flirt lines, by building an emotional space where she feels playful, comfortable, and emotionally connected all at once. It's also important to understand this playfulness helps lower her guard. Many women are naturally cautious when it comes to texting new people. They're used to being objectified or misunderstood. But when you bring in humor that's laced with thoughtfulness and charm, it disarms her. It makes her feel safe to let her personality come forward. Think of it like this: her heart is like a house with multiple locked rooms. Personalized playfulness is like the key to her favorite, most comfortable room, the one with soft lighting and cozy vibes where she lets go and truly becomes herself. But be careful, playfulness should never cross into disrespect. If she's sharing something serious, don't try to turn it into a joke. Emotional intelligence means knowing when to be light and when to be present. You can be the guy who teases her one moment and listens with your full heart the next. That balance, that duality, is deeply attractive to women. Because in that balance, she sees something rare: a man who knows how to flirt without forcing it. A man who can be charming without being cringy. A man who enjoys the moment but isn't desperate for attention. A man who remembers her details, not to impress her, but because he's genuinely interested. And when that happens, she doesn't just respond to your texts, she anticipates them. She scrolls through old messages with a smile. She laughs at things you said yesterday. She tells her friend, "He's actually funny," and not in a corny way. That's how personalized playfulness becomes your superpower. It makes you unforgettable, not because you tried too hard, but because you tapped into something deeper. You showed her that you're not here to impress every woman. You're here to understand her, enjoy her, connect with her energy. And that kind of connection can't be faked, rushed, or replaced. Playfulness isn't a tool. It's a reflection of how you see the other person. If you're genuinely tuned in, the playful energy flows naturally. You don't have to think too hard, you just have to pay attention. Her speech patterns, her little insecurities, the things she gets excited about. When you play with those things with love, she feels it. In conclusion, when it comes to texting, most men focus on what to say, but few understand how to say it in a way that leaves a lasting impression. The truth is, women don't just respond to words, they respond to energy. And the 3 texting secrets we've explored, emotional intrigue, confidence in communication, and personalized playfulness, are the keys to unlocking that emotional response. Emotionally intriguing messages spark curiosity and make her mind linger on you. Confident communication shows that you value your time, your space, and yourself without needing to prove it. And personalized playfulness, that's where real connection begins. It tells her, "I see you, I enjoy you, and I'm present with you." Texting isn't about proving your worth or chasing attention. It's about creating a rhythm, an emotional back and forth that feels safe, exciting, and uniquely yours. When you master these 3 elements, you stop being just another guy in her inbox. You become the one who stands out, the one she looks forward to hearing from, the one she texts first. Because at the end of the day, the most irresistible men aren't the ones who try too hard. They're the ones who understand the power of subtlety, intention, and connection.